So I'm really sorry if I'm not as perky as normal, but this is my craft. I do craft regardless of my mental state. It helps with my mental health generally. So anyway, we were doing this, weren't we? We were looking at this journal. I don't know whether you remember, it was a long time ago. I've been doing the kitchen since then, etc. But we're doing this journal. We were making a French board to go in it, and this is the French board. So we made this, and I was going to string it off air, and then I decided I was going to string it on air. But before I do that, I want to decorate this, because I don't want you to see this Jiffy logo and the barcode, because barcodes obviously aren't very old-fashioned. So we want it to kind of look like it was a found object from, found in a loft from years ago. So that's what I'm trying. That's the kind of story I have in my head. So anyway, so these are some samples of wallpaper. Now I've been getting lots of samples of wallpaper, trying to figure out what I want in my living room, but I kind of placed them together a bit sort of like this to kind of cover up the logo, and I kind of liked how that little grouping, and I thought I'd stick those down, but I thought I'd do it with you guys rather than just doing it on my own. So I'm going to get my my glue book, and we'll get gluing. So eventually, I don't know whether you know, but I lost the lid to this, but I eventually found the lid, and I've just stuck it back on, even though I'd covered it in press and seal, which isn't available in the UK. You have to buy it on Amazon. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I think I might want to ink those edges so that they're not quite so bright white. Now I know normally I do a tutorial on this. I'm not in the mindset to be able to do a tutorial, as in tell you what to do. I'm kind of, it's going to be one of those, we're going to do this together type thing today, because my mind won't, because I'm not feeling confident or self-confident. I'm not able to, I feel like a fraud telling other people how they should do something. So I'm feeling a bit of a fraud in everything at the minute. So really, it's really shaken me up. It's really made me have a bit of a. Bearing in mind, I've been trying to sort my kitchen out so that I feel like I've got a real nice haven to come back to when I've had a really bad day or it's been stressful, and it's put a bad taste on it all because of the way that he's made me feel about being here. He hasn't ever been very nice to me. I've not really said anything very publicly before, but his aggression towards me yesterday was very public, and I kind of used to think, well, I won't say anything in case like he saw it. Not that he would ever watch anything that I do. He calls me a faggot and a retard and all sorts of things anyway. So like, I doubt if he's gonna want to watch anything I do. But I kind of used to think, well, if I don't want to make it any worse, but do you know what? I don't think it could have been any worse than yesterday, and I haven't done anything to him. Like I was saying in my previous video, the one that didn't air properly because it kept breaking up because of the broadband. But I never say anything about him. He plays his music really loud. He's always got rowdy people round there watching football and that sort of thing, and he smokes weed and like the strong, pungent. I can't stand the smell of weed. I'm not a prude. I don't mind, if you smoke weed, you smoke weed or whatever. But it's not for me. It's not for me. And also, I don't like the smell of it. It really makes me feel sick and ill and a bit nauseous. And my house just absolutely reeks of it because he smokes so much of it, and it just permeates through the walls. And I've never complained about that. Never said anything to him. Never said anything to anybody else about it. Just, like not in a, I might have mentioned it to somebody, but not actually in a I want something done about it type way. I've never complained about the way that the words that he uses to describe me, or the things that he says to me. I've always believed in live and let live, and if you're, you might not like everything that your neighbour does, but they equally might not like everything you do, but you kind of have to live together, don't you? So, and maybe it's me. Maybe I've got a stupid attitude, and you're probably all thinking, I don't know what you're talking about, Dave. Like, that's not the way of the world. Actually, you should go round to your neighbours and retaliate every time they do something you don't like, but that's not me. That's not the way I was brought up. Good boy. I know you've been a bit stressy, because I have too, and I'm sorry for that, Worcester. I'm sorry that you feel a bit heightened anxiety. He can feel my anxiety, so yeah, I don't know how you feel about things, but I haven't got the comments on, so I don't know what you might be saying something to me, or you might not. I don't know. I'll have a look at the comments later. I don't want to be distracted by comments, and also don't want to have my confidence knocked by reading comments. Because you might all be telling me that I'm crap, and that sort of thing. So nobody wants to read that when they're feeling like that they are crap. So anyway, I mean, it broke me yesterday. I cried solidly for 5 hours, and I now just feel empty, and I ache, and I feel drained. My mental health is just terrible. I feel like my brain feels empty and devoid of information. I find it hard to do just general day-to-day things. I couldn't coordinate myself enough. If I open up and I tell you too many things, you have to tell me that I tell you too many things. But I couldn't even coordinate my hands enough to be able to get my socks on this morning, so I've only literally just put socks on because I was only able to do that later on. And I know I sound like an idiot, but and trust me, I feel like one. So I hate having meltdowns. I mean, I hate having them, full stop. They're not fun to have, but I hate having them when they're public, so that I can be held to account or ridiculed by it. So anyway, yeah, I wasn't. That's the way it was yesterday, and it really knocked me for 6. The whole feeling. Right, okay, I'm just so you know, I'm cutting the end of that off, okay, and I'm going to get flamey, and the only reason for that is I just want to melt the end of there so that it doesn't fray, because it frays otherwise. So okay, I did melt the other end, but I burnt it at the same time. It got very flamey. So yeah, so like the kitchen's been going on, but I don't. I can't even see. I told you I can't even think. Sorry, incoherent. The kitchen's still going on. It's not completely finished. I mean, it's been going on for 3.5 weeks now, and I'm doing it myself with Brian's help. Brian's been doing a lot for me. It's just coming home and trying to work all week and coming home to that, and that's kind of really chipping away at my mental health at the minute. So anyway, shut up, Dave. Nobody's interested. So yeah, so I wanted to. What was I going to say? I want to string this. Okay, so And I was going to go so that you only saw it on this side, but I think I am actually going to go across to this side, because I thought that this side, because it's got give and it's got the padding on it, would be great for slimmer items, tucking it behind. But then this side would be better for like chunkier cardboard, because it will create its own friction. And you'll kind of see what I mean when I've done it. It's just really hard for me to explain to you, especially with the way that my brain is working. You know, I realise that like people don't understand autism, but please do me a huge favour. Please don't stand and stare at someone when they're having a meltdown. You know, they're not. And also, there's a horrible culture for having, for videoing situations. So, and I mean, you know, I know that it's titillating because, you know, you can see it on the reels on YouTube or on TikTok or short stories or wherever you're watching it. They're called something different, but they're like short videos. And the thing is, they are of somebody kicking, you know, usually of somebody kicking off or Karens. Okay, not. I understand people who think they're entitled to something, and you know, it's. I won't even say it's fine to ridicule them, because that's you. Your entitlement is different depending on who you are, and you know, we've all behaved in a, you know, over entitled sort of way at some point, but there's lots of filming of people kicking off or screaming or lying on the floor and like having tantrums or behaving like spoiled adults and that sort of thing. And actually, do you know the cause of that? No. You know, very rarely do you actually see what instigated that. You know, or somebody whips out their camera and films somebody's reaction to something. You don't always see what that person did to the other person in order to get that response. And so I know that I have been, you know, spat at and kicked and all of that for having a meltdown in public, because I've been seen as having a tantrum and grow up and all of that. But, you know, you don't know that somebody's... When people have said, well, I didn't know you were autistic, well, you don't know anybody is. You don't know it. Anybody's not having a breakdown or struggling with their mental health, or, you know... I always think, you know, it's a bit like you wouldn't poke a viper's nest, would you? So, you know, and then film it. So, anyway, maybe I'm just overstepping the mark or whatever. But I do think that we've got this bit of a horrible culture where we can, you know, we are going to make somebody feel inferior by their reaction to something. And the entitlement isn't always about the person being filmed. It's sometimes so you feel entitled to film somebody, do you? Okay, right. So anyway, like I say, I don't know. Maybe possibly too political, but I realise that, you know, it sells things, doesn't it? Like people watch videos and that sort of thing, and people have got hundreds of thousands of subscribers because they ridicule, mock the afflicted, or mock the those that don't behave in the same way that they do. And, you know, fair enough if that's the way that they want to get their subscribers, but I tell you now, I'd rather have less subscribers and more tolerance, personally. Okay, so I'm just stringing this. I don't actually know which way I'm going to do it. I'm just doing it. If I don't like it, I can always unthread it. So I thought maybe the elastic is too long as well, but we'll soon find out, won't we? So just trying to be a bit random about how I'm threading it. Maybe I should do it the other way. Maybe I should go up there, otherwise I'll end up just going back and forth. And now I've burnt the end of it. It smells really bad of like burnt rubber, which I guess it would because it's rubber. So I'm trying to, as I'm going, I'm trying to make this flat, not have a twist in it, so that it lies flatter. Because what we want to be able to do is tuck things underneath it, but without, well, that's less stretched, isn't it? Sorry, my brain is not helping you guys today. You don't know what I'm talking about. I could just tell by the opening of the weave how stretched out it was, or how compact it was. So yeah, I'm just gonna thread this randomly. I could do with a clip to hold it, but of course my brain didn't think about that when I was setting up. I say setting up, I didn't even set up. I just thought I'm going to end up doing this off camera if I don't do it on camera. So yeah, I'd love to be able to explain to you how my brain functions when I'm in a meltdown, but what I mean, like, the only thing I can do is try to educate people, and remember, when I talk about it from my perspective, and this is not every autistic person feels like this, because that's not the case. Every autistic person is different, so every autistic person has a different experience. So, but from my perspective, what do I feel? Well, I'm not in control, so my actions, I'm not in control of my actions. I need a bigger clip. Maybe that one. It needs a bigger reach, that's better. I'm not in control of my actions. I behave like a spoilt child, but I'm not a spoilt child. I can still hear everything and see everything, but I can't necessarily communicate. So, like, it's sometimes called a shutdown. Shutdowns and meltdowns are different. Shutdowns are where you want to, from my perspective, shutdowns are where you want to escape, get away from everything, the situation. Do I want to go up there? Go up there and then go over, maybe over to here. Yeah. So shutdowns are where you want to escape from the situation and you just want to withdraw and get away from everything. And a meltdown is where you, well, from my perspective, like I say, is where I will be, well, screaming, crying, shouting, incoherent very often. For me, it all sounds very logical and very rational, and but for you, you probably don't have a clue what's going on, and you usually the reason why I kind of get this, because like I say, I can see your face, and your face is usually like, what on earth is going on here? And yet for me, I feel like I am explaining to you in a very rational sort of way, this is the problem, this is why I feel like this, this is, you know, I'm struggling at the moment, please help me. And actually all you're hearing is screaming or crying or mumbling. I feel really hot talking about it, because I feel really embarrassed, because when I'm feeling like this, when I'm feeling really bruised by the whole thing, I feel embarrassed by it. I feel embarrassed by having autism. These are the times when I wished I didn't have it. In other ways, it makes me who I am, and it makes me unique and see the world in a different way, and maybe the reason why I can craft or do things. Some people have said that I do things in a different way, and maybe that's the reason why I do. They've usually said it in a good way, like I do things in a different way from a good perspective. Well, this is what I mean. This is quite open, and this one is quite compact, so I haven't stretched that one as much. So I just want to make sure that they're all kind of stretched in the same sort of way. Where does that go to? There. That goes up to there. So it's got to come this way. So I'll stretch this way. Stretch over to there. And I can pull this one. There you go. So they're all a bit more even, open weave on them now. So then I'll clip that here, so I don't have to hold it taut. Okay, so what was I saying? So yeah, I get embarrassed by the fact that I've got it. It's a curse, and it's a, you know, it's a curse and a friend at times. But and I feel very embarrassed. I feel really embarrassed talking about it now. I don't mind talking about it normally, but like, it's like exposing your raw underbelly. People knowing who you are as a person, and your limitations, or your see, I can't think. I need somebody sat next to me going, I need somebody sat next to me saying, it's all right, you can do this, or helping me fill in the blanks. But I don't have that person. But Brian is here today. He's downstairs. He's sorting out the stuff that I can't sort out. When my brain is like this, I cannot do anything like tidying. Oh my goodness, I don't know what is going on here now. My brain has just stopped functioning. I'm so sorry. If you're getting frustrated with me, I'm really sorry. But yeah, I know. I seem to talk about having a meltdown every 5 minutes, don't I? It's like, oh, for goodness sake, here he goes again, another one. Oh God, no. But I don't know. It has to be something. It has to be something else that triggers me to have one. They tend not. Well, if it's some stimuli that happens that makes me have one. I've never had one where something hasn't happened. Whether I'm conscious of that happening at the time, sometimes it's as a noise that I can hear, nobody else can, that has caused it, or I don't know. Shall I shut up? Shall I? Is it probably best if I just shut up talking about it? Or does me explaining it help? I don't know. Yeah, I usually like... well, there is always a trigger. There's always a trigger, but sometimes it's not a person, it's not a situation. It might just be a noise, or a whistle in the background, or something else. Now, what doesn't trigger it is clocks. I love the sound of ticking clocks. I find that really therapeutic. And the other thing that you'll find me listening to if I've had a meltdown is white noise. Not the... I think there's a heavy metal band, but not them. But the music... sorry, not the music. The crackly sound. The sound of like... of a radio that's not tuned in. That's kind of crackly white noise sound. The sound of a a fan that's constantly going, or like as in a desk fan type sound, or the sound that you get on an aircraft. The droney hum. That sort of thing really helps me to calm down. It also, white noise is very good for blocking out other sounds, so you can't hear other things that are going on. So it's good for drowning out all the other din. I feel I want that to go across there, and I know that means I'm going to use the hole again, but you know what, I don't care. I want it to go there, and I think I want it then... I need something going that way is what I'm thinking. So sorry, I've just brushed my mic. So if I can take that off there now. Right, put that on. Now let's go through this hole first. It's my board. I can do what I like. So, and I know that I keep saying, something. It's really, really bad, because I know I want you to do you, and you be you, and you be celebrate you as an individual, but I've always put myself second, and I know that frustrates the living daylights out of some people, because they think I should... Let's see, what do we... See, the back's much more logical than the front. What happened there, Dave? I want something to go that way. It's going to have to go down to there, isn't it? So I'm going to have to go up through here. Sorry, I'm just trying to be more logical now. My brain is kind of in a moment of clarity. So put that through there. And there would have been an easier way if you use a needle, a big eye needle. You'd be able to get these through. I want it to go like that, I think, and then I'll see what the back looks like in a minute. So the back's not as important, but I do want it. My brain is saying to me it has to be perfect and symmetrical. There's no perfection in craft, so it's there's not perfect as in perfect, but perfect as in perfect for me. So I don't know. Does me telling you the situation help, or does it not? There's too much slack in that, Dave. Where does that one go? That's the one that goes up there, isn't it? There we go. That better. A bit more. That's twisted now. Does it help you to understand, or is it just like, you know, oh, here he goes talking about himself again? Be tighter. Oh well. So where does this one need to go in order for this side to look better? Up to there, and then I think what we'll do is we'll tie it off there, because that hole now has been used 3 times, and I'll struggle to get this through there now. Sorry, I've got to stop speaking for a minute while I try and concentrate. I think I've just fluffed off my end. Might need, well, it's going to have to be reburnt in a minute anyway, because I'm going to have to cut a whole piece of this off, so way too long. Yeah, to there. Let's go to there. And then we want to tie this off, so I'll just come back round here, get my fat fingers out of the way, well, in the way. Might go under there so that there's a bit more anchorage. I'm pulling the right bit, yep, that's fine. And then tie it again around here. So yeah, okay. So anyway, that's the situation. That's what's been happening. I need to now tie it the other way around so it doesn't undo itself. Okay, and I think that should be okay. That should hold. And I will cut it off. And I will try to burn the end without setting light to the whole place. Yeah. You just want to wait until the ends, the little fluffy ends shrink back, and then that kind of like stops it from fraying. Okay, we want to cut that bit off because that's too long. Also then do that on there. Turned into a bit of a pyromaniac today, so yeah. Make sure it's not a light. There we go. So that's our little board for holding things, and hopefully it will. Tuck this in here. Hopefully it'll have enough grip to hold it. So yeah, there you go. That's the whole point of a French board, is to kind of hold onto your things so that they don't slip out. And it'll do the same on the back. It's just there's not as much tension because of the board. I mean, it's still there, but it's not. See what I mean? It doesn't hold a piece of paper as much, whereas it will hold a thicker piece of card. So like these that go right now. In there, so there you go. So anyway, kind of works. So that's it. So that's the the French board. I have no idea how long I've been going on for. Too long from your perspective, probably. So I intend to put this in here. I still haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do and today is not the day to figure out anything like that. It's going to go in here. I still just have not made that connection in my head about how I'm going to make that connection in the book. So I don't know how I'm going to get it to go in here. I'm going to use these. I think I'm going to use some ribbon to go round here, and then I'm going to put some like hooks on here, and so you can hook it in and unhook it and that sort of thing. So I think that's what I'm going to do with it. But anyway, that's our French board, and we've made that. So then the other things to now think about is if we're having a French board. Sorry, I keep hitting my microphone. So now we've got that in there. What else? What else do we want? So this is going to be loose. This is not going to be glued down to here. So this is going to be loose. What else are we going to have in here? Now I really want to have some sort of a little concertina type file. Thinking I might stick that to here. But I'm going to have a bit more of a think about that. And I think what I'd like is somewhere to be able to put some. Let's move this over a bit, Dave. To be able to put some tucks in here. So one of those boards that I've made before, which consist of. What I'll do is I'll make one. Shall I actually make one? I haven't got anything with me to make it with. Is that going to be big enough? Pushed everything out now, Dave, hasn't it? So. You could have a small one down here, I guess. This is just a piece of mop-up sheet. I don't actually know what I want to do. Let's make a mock-up of one, and then we'll make one properly when I do the video proper. Okay, so I'm just going to use some of this because I can, because it's here. What am I doing, Dave? No idea. So I'm just going to cut this up. Try and cut it kind of straight. Not the day to suddenly do something impromptu, because it's not going to end well, is it? Let's try and get that on that line, because I sound like a blithering idiot when I try and do something impromptu and my brain isn't working. So knife, where is that? There. This down, just making it square, really. So, well, not square, but like as square as I can. Yeah, like that. So what I mean is one of the ones with slots in it, so like a slot pocket for be able to tuck things into it. So the way to do that is you punch a hole at each end. Can we use this? So this is just a normal paper punch one, and I kind of just use the span, its reach, to be kind of the size that I want it to be. So how far in I wanted it to come. I don't like measure or anything. That's as far as it'll go. That's where it's going. Okay. Oh, hang on a minute, Dave. Before we do that. See, this is why I shouldn't do crafts like this when my brain isn't functioning, because I have no idea and I don't edit. So, as you know, I don't edit, so that pencil is going to drive me insane. So let's pick a line. Just get it on the line, Dave. pick a line and then use one to draw a line. Basically, you want to make sure that you get your hole level either side, otherwise you end up with a wonky slot. So I'm gonna make a hole there, turn it round, make a hole there, and then again, how far away do you want the next slot? Should we just go for 2 in this? Yeah, we'll go for 2. So again, find the line, make it square, and we'll put the other line in there. So a line there and a line there, and again, as far as the reach will go. That way then you know that those two line up, because you did it the same way on both ones. As far as the reach will go on that side, and those two line up, you also know that that's equal to that, because the reach is the same regardless of whether you turn it around, and then you join the two holes up. And this is when, if you draw a line all the way through, let's do it on the other side so you can see. If you draw a line all the way through the centre of those dots, those holes. No, that wasn't the centre though, was it, Dave? If you draw a line through the centre of those dots, you're a better person than I am. So through there and to there, I think that's more like it. There. Okay, so if you do that, which is still not straight, but like we'll go with it, and then you cut out either side of that pencil line. You're not going to cut the whole thing off, you're just going to cut between the holes. You cut either side of the pencil line. You do that bit, you flip it round, and then you do the other side of the pencil line. Rather than on the pencil line, what you'll get is just that little visible slot. You can get dies that do this, but really you don't need to. You see what I mean? So you've cut, because I've cut either side of it rather than along the line, I've now got a slot. So it's basically, I don't know what they're actually called, I just call them a slot pocket. So and it works for me. So whether it works for you, totally different matter. No, I was going to put that down, but I'm not going to. So there, flip it round and do the other side. So I haven't drawn a line this time. I've got a visual, like a virtual line in my head that now I'm going to try and make perfect. So there we go. We've got 2 slots. So, and that's what I call a slot pocket. So all I'm going to do is like rub out the pencil marks either side. Secret to this is having a good rubber or eraser or whatever you call it. It's like when I said about talking on the step earlier. Instantly I stopped myself from saying on the stoop. And I've never called it a stoop. It's just that I was watching a program the other day, and I think it was in America, and they called it a stoop. I've never heard it called a stoop before, but I wanted them to call it a stoop. So, okay. So if you call it a stoop, let me know. So I call it a step. So my front step is my step. It's not my stoop. So there you go. That's what I mean by a slot pocket. So something like this is going to go in here. I keep forgetting that that's not attached, and then I get frustrated about why isn't it stuck down. So something like that is going to go in here, not necessarily made out of this, but something, you know, like it. It might be narrower and longer. It might even have slots in different ways. So by that I mean, you know, having. Just going to draw it rather than So slots, and then you could have a slot that way and a slot that way, and you know, you could even have an angled slot. Who knows? It's all about having a bit of doing a bit, trying a bit, having a bit of fun. So that's it. So that's the kind of thing. I think that way up is the way I intended it to be. But that's the kind of thing I'm kind of toying with. There's a few other things that I'd like to do. I think I want a map fold in here. I want to do some things that I have not done before, but not done in previous Lapbooks before. I want this to be a bit more field journal-y type Lapbook. So there's a few ideas that I've got. I don't know whether you've seen, but on my YouTube, I've got. I might do a tutorial on this. This is that glassine that I made, and then I just turned it into a bag, like a bit like those bread bags that you get in the supermarket. I just turned it into one of those. So I might do something on that tutorial wise, but you know, I might not. Depends on what people think. But these are the things I've been making recently, is tickets. I've made tickets before, just never made them. I've realised that I've never actually made them on camera, so I just made a few tickets. I think that's my favourite. Well, no, I've got two favourites. I have this one and this one. And I don't know whether that's because they've got birds on them that make it my favourite, but I just really like them. So. Yeah, so they're on my, they're on my YouTube channel. They were what I did as a bit of escapism when I was doing in the eye of the storm of doing the kitchen, and I just needed some time out doing something else. So yeah, so that's what I did. Oh, and I don't know whether any of you saw, but I had Brian, on the run up to my birthday, Brian bought me this. Oh yeah, because we talked about this. So Brian bought me this mat, and it was in one of these. It came in one of these Amazon packages, and he gave it me, and he said, "You can have this as long as I have the packet." Now, I ordered something for work. It's all right. It's my work address. You can post things to me at my work address if you like. It will definitely come to me. Basically, I'm the one that picks up the post. So, this packet came, and as soon as I saw it, I wasn't interested. I ordered lots of things. I do most of the purchase orders and that sort of thing, and I issue people with purchase order numbers and that sort of thing, and they send them to me because they know that I'll distribute it to the right department, etc. But sorry, I'm digressing. So it came, and I wasn't interested in what was in the bag. I just was interested in the fact that I'd got a bag. So Brian stole the last one off me. So he gave me this mat in one of these bags, but told me that he wanted the bag back. So I've now got a bag of my own. So to make a journal out of, but you know, that'll be another day. So yeah, so now you all know where I work, and you know, if you want to know what I do, I'm the resources manager. So I look after all of the resources, and I spend lots of money on behalf of the charity. So and Amazon is where we get a lot of stuff from. So yeah. So anyway, now you all know. I've never I've never ordered anything we didn't need at work. I'm not frivolous, put it that way. And also, trust me, I don't order things unless we definitely really need it. We have to get to the point where we're desperate for it before I order it. So anyway, thank you, because you really have helped my mental health today. Oh, the other thing I was going to say before we go is, you know that have my own little stamp stand, don't you? You know I've shown you these before when I've made when I've made actual physical postage stamps. These are all like textures that I've found that I like, that I've just stuck to. That's not a texture, is it? Because it's piece of blank cardboard, Dave. They're textures I found that I like, or they're things that I've played with. So this is just a bit of glue gun that I just wiggled on, and then they're things that I stamp over things to make them look a bit old. So for instance, this has got some of this stamped on it. So let me show you just what I mean. Because the reason why I wanted to say about it is because people spend loads of money on texture stamps, and you can make your own. All it is a bit of grey board, and you just stamp it on, and it just gives you a bit of a, you know, it looks like something's been stuck to it in the past. Or you could stamp this one up and then stick this on there, and you don't get a massive, you know, result from it, but what you do get is you just get an essence of something in the background, and I really like it. So that's what this is. So you can tell that this has been on there, can't you? Just stamp off the excess. Blimey, that oxide stays wet for a long time. Bit of this. See what I mean? It just makes it a little bit grungier, like it's had a bit of time. Anyway, I just wanted to show you. Don't like this. This is a bit out of the spongy bit out of the bottom of a punnet of raspberries. This is just some corrugated cardboard. This is a coffee cup that was cut up. This is a glue gun. This is obviously bubble wrap, but this is bubble wrap with that sheet of film, you know, when it's sandwiched between two sheets of film. And then this was just a piece of string. So anyway, make your own texture stamps rather than buying them. You really don't need to. So that was it. That's all I wanted to say. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for keeping me company. Thank you for being there. Thank you for helping me with my mental health today. I hope you have enjoyed it, maybe found it informative. I don't know. Just thank you. I was doing it more for me than I was for you. Maybe slightly selfish that, but you need to be every now and again. So you all have fun. You know what I always say is that I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to, like my neighbour has. So have a lovely afternoon, morning, evening, whatever time it is with you. I love you all. I'm sorry that this was a lot later than normal. Didn't start it till 4:15, I think it was, and I normally do it at 3. But thank you if you tuned in. Take care of yourself, folks. I'll try and get back to being my perky self again, but I do feel better than I did when I first started doing this video. So take care, folks. Lots of kisses, lots of crafty hugs. Ugh. And I'll see you all very soon. Take care. My name's Autistic Dave. Bye.